Greetings and salutations, folks, and welcome once again, as always, to another helping of Mr H's Hot Pot. You join me today for day 11 of the UK lockdown, where I'm currently taking my daily exercise. Now today, I've returned back to the countryside, and the reason for that, Hot Potters, is I'm taking advantage of the new police guidelines that have been issued to them regarding people using their vehicles to travel out to the countryside. Apparently, you can now use your vehicle to go out and exercise, provided you're only travelling what is deemed as a reasonable distance. Unfortunately, what one person's perception of a reasonable distance is to another's is always questionable. But I'm not too far away from home. It's only a short drive away, so I'm deeming this as a reasonable distance to travel. So I'm back in the countryside. I'm glad to be back out here. It's a little bit grey and a little bit more overcast than the last time I was here. And it's a jacket cowder, as we say here in the northwest, or certainly in my hometown of Wigan. So I've got a jacket on today. I've got little Lucy with me. She's happy to be out and about. I'll just whip the camera around and we'll see if we can see her. Yeah, there she is, back there, sniffing and enjoying herself, and I think she's glad to be out of four walls. I've only been able to take her to a little field not far from my home, and that's not been good really, because every dog walker in the locality has made for that very small space, so it's been quite heavy with dog walking traffic. I do apologise for any wind that may be captured on this particular film, but as you've just been able to see there, we're out in an open space, and today is not very nice weather-wise. So folks, what does day 11 bring? Well, for the H household, it's brought a bit of a shock and a bit of a sobering thought regarding this current crisis. Because up until now, I personally have not known of anybody who has got this COVID-19. They've just been numbers and strangers who have it. However, last night, Mrs H, she got the bad news that one of her former work colleagues, she's not worked with this person for years, but she's stayed in touch with them via Facebook. Unfortunately, her husband has contracted the COVID-19 virus and has been hospitalised and is currently having a rough time. I'm sure everybody out there, like myself, will pass on our best wishes to this particular person who's fighting this virus at this moment in time. But now that we know somebody, albeit a tenuous link, because like I said, Mrs H has not worked with this former work colleague for a number of years, it makes it real. Suddenly you realise this isn't just something that's happening to people in London and strangers. It can happen in your own town. I believe this couple don't live very far away from where we live here in our own town. So it's become very real for the H's. And from now on, Hot Potters, I'm going to be upping my game regarding the social distancing. I'm going to continue to come to places like this and get away from people as much as possible. I'm going to be limiting the shopping trips because we don't want to be going shopping unnecessarily. And I'm going to cut back on the old food a little bit. I'm not going to be as binge eating in the evenings on things, because that's one of the side effects, isn't it, of this current situation. You're stuck in and you start getting the munchies in the evening. Well, I'm going to stop that off, and that'll mean we won't need to go out and get as many supplies as such. Now, when you look at this situation, I know a lot of you out there have said that they think it's fake, etc, etc. And as I said in previous vlogs, everybody has an opinion on this. Everybody has their own thoughts on this. Everybody has a theory on this. And you are allowed to have that. But I'm going to take this as being serious, because let's be honest, they're not building these big military field-style hospitals down in London in the Midlands for nothing, are they? They're not building them for nothing. You know, and another macabre observation, in these areas that they're expecting the local population to get hit hard and fast, the crematoriums, their operating hours have been extended, and they're now building, as discreetly as possible, extra morgue space. You know, so that tells you that in these places they're expecting lots of new customers, doesn't it? So, you know, they're not doing all that for nothing. Regarding the Nightingale Hospital and that, let's be honest, successive governments for decades have been denying the NHS funding. They've also been taking funding off them with cuts. So, no, they're throwing money at the NHS. That tells you things are not right, and sooner or later we're going to get hit hard and fast with this disease. And all you can do is have the attitude, it's not going to happen to me, because I'm going to follow social distancing and keep my distance from people as much as possible. And to be honest, when that news broke regarding the 13-year-old that has tragically succumbed to this disease, if you're a parent and you've got children like I have, you owe it to your children to try and take this thing seriously. That's just my thoughts. Like I said, everyone is entitled to an opinion and their own theory on this. That is mine. So folks, on a lighter note, we're now able to come out into the countryside once again, and I'm really glad that that has been a little victory for common sense, really. I know what everybody was saying out there, you know, what if you get involved in a traffic accident in the countryside? You're then going to need an ambulance, which is taking resources where they're needed elsewhere to come and pick you up, and you shouldn't have been travelling there. I know that, but everything in life is a trade-off, and we have to weigh up how many actual accidents have happened in the countryside since the lockdown compared to before. And if it hasn't spiked, then we're being overcautious, aren't we? Because let's be honest, where I am now, this is the ultimate form of social distancing, isn't it? You know, the nearest dog walker to me is a speck in the distance over there. I'll just check that they're still making the way that way. So it's a trade-off, and like I say, I'm glad to see that basically certain police forces and certain police officers within them forces have been told to wind the neck in, because it was getting ridiculous, really. There was abusing the authority when all's said and done. And what the police force in general has to remember, not individual forces, the whole police force, and if any police officers are watching these videos, which I doubt, because many of my videos can be seen as being slightly anti-establishment, especially the TV licensing videos. What you need to remember is the public perception of how you conduct yourselves throughout this crisis will remain a lot longer than the memory of the crisis itself. I know that there's many people in these former mining villages and towns. They've not forgotten how the police treated them in 1984 when they were striking. And anybody out there who can remember the miners' strike, they will remember those awful scenes that was beamed into people's homes of police officers being brutal with miners, you know. Terrible scenes. And like I said, that's when the public perception changed of the police for a generation. If you want it to happen again, you know, continue flying drones at people and naming and shaming them for doing basically nothing wrong and doing what I'm doing now. Anyway, folks, I hope you're all well. I hope you're all managing to get through this period. Many thanks for everybody who's left comments. And it seems that one or two of you out there, my little CB reference from regarding square wheeled, meaning parked up, it rang a little bit of a nostalgic tone with a lot of you, didn't it? You know, some of you gave me your memories of the old CB days. If you're too young enough to remember CBing, you know, that you wasn't around, you wasn't a twinkle in your daddy's eye when all that was going on. Basically what CBing was, it was the 80s version of the internet. And it was an exciting time, wasn't it, Hot Potters, for those of you who can remember it. You know, we had an all new language to learn, and it was a new way of meeting people. It didn't last very long, as I recall. It came and it went very quickly, really. It was only a short period of time, wasn't it, in the early 80s. There's still one or two of you out there still have rigs, and you're still doing it, enthusiasts, but for the main, most of us have left that behind. Anyway, thanks for your comments regarding CBing and many other things. What I might try and do tomorrow, I'll return to that area that I was doing so I can easily see up, and I'll do a vlog from there again, walking round, and I'll do a little question and answers. I don't normally do these in my videos, but many of you are asking roughly the same sort of questions that I get asked time and time again throughout my videos. So I'll try and answer some of them without it getting too boring and just me talking about me, really, because I do try and keep that out of my videos. Anyway, folks, we're now coming up to the magic 10-minute mark, so I'm going to wrap this particular vlog up here. So, folks, until tomorrow, when it'll be day 12 of the UK lockdown, the Dirty Dozen, I'll bid you a fond farewell as always. So stay safe, and until the next time, bye-bye for now.